Hey, hello, welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Darren Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in our borough and across New York City. Coming up, a celebration of bold flavors and some of the best barbecue you can find in New York City. Well, it is happening today. We'll take you through the inside scoop of one of the city's brisket events. It's the biggest one of the year pretty much, and how you can be a part of it. And then, while resources exist, many are still struggling to access stable housing. A new approach is showing promising results, as well as changing lives faster than ever before. We'll break down what's working and what still does need to change. And then next, a small business is making a big impact in the world of natural hair care. With more people turning to clean, plant-based solutions, one brand is combining science and holistic approaches, helping people to achieve healthier hair. We'll take a closer look at what sets these products apart and how to care for your hair the right way. And then lastly, from building confidence to driving real change in their communities, we'll take a look at how this organization is empowering young women and gender-expansive youth of color to step into leadership roles and what they're doing this summer that you should know about. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. Hello, everyone. I am Darren Jaime. You're now watching Open, a program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at Bronxnet TV. I want to let you know some things have been going on through the past week. We'll take you through it with our Bronx updates. And we kick off with local news. Graduating high school seniors are getting a head start on managing their finances thanks to a heads-on workshop that's designed to prepare them for life after graduation. Our reporter Nicole Rosado has a story.
It might be challenging to navigate some things, including finances, as a teenager. One is not 18 yet, they are enrolled in college, looking for work, or doing other things. For this reason, it is crucial that College Bridge Cafe, in partnership with Storyland and Springbank, meet with high school students who are about to graduate and would like to learn how to make the most out of their debit and credit cards.
I thought this was a very good opportunity to be ahead and be a step in front of just the rest, being able to understand how to really communicate and really understand my money, how to financially be forward and just impacting and taking that first step into my future.
College Bridge Cafe is always there to support people through their highs and lows. Therefore, having Springbank on their side allows the soon-to-be college students to get a head start on their finances rather than worrying about credit cards, loans, and financing in general while or after college.
Giving our students the resources alongside the school, amplifying and supplementing the offerings that they are able to provide to students and to their families, including things like financial literacy. So how to be successful young adults and into adulthood are all the skills that we think are important. It also plays into financial aid and their ability and their knowledge to take out loans, be able to afford whatever their post-secondary plan is, and how to save and strategize for that phase of their life.
Acknowledging that understanding finance can be challenging. For this reason, the financial literacy training began with a PowerPoint presentation outlining the importance of debit cards, credit cards, loans, credit scores, etc. It was followed by a Q&A session with students and concluded with a Jenga workshop.
They are trying to empower you. They are empowering you, and the most high schools that are involved, the better it's going to be for everyone here, the youth especially. They have a place to go to, a good place where they have access to resources. That's pretty amazing.
The initial credit score for each student will be 620. Every time they remove a Jenga piece, something happens to them that could either lower, raise, or maintain their credit score. This approach made it easier for them to comprehend the idea of a credit score and how to control it.
During the course of the game, there were situations that came across, and some things they hadn't think about. Bankruptcy, if I pay this in cash, or if I pay this in the credit or if I pay earlier, if I use a 30% utilization on each credit card. And one of the things we started with was the 620. 620 was so important for them to understand the concept of them saying, hey, if I have a 620, I will qualify for a real life loan. So therefore, at the end, when they had the scores, it was like, oh, I have a 585. What does that mean? Let's get a credit builder loan. Let's get two. Or I qualify. Now what's my next step?
The workshop's overall purpose not only provided students with useful knowledge on how to manage their finances whenever that may be, but also demonstrated that the organizations such as College Bridge Cafe and Spring Bank are open to them. Reporting from Bronxnet, Nicole Rosado.
And thank you, Nicole. In other news, as part of the New York City's bookstore crawl, the Lit Bar celebrated Black women making their mark in literature and business, holding a powerful community event centered on storytelling as well as entrepreneurship. And our Bronxnet reporter, Brittany Schuyler, brings us the story.
In the Bronx, the literary community was marked with a powerful celebration of Black women in literature and business. The Lit Bar hosted a special panel as part of the New York City bookstore crawl, bringing together Black women-owned independent bookstores from across the city. The event created space for reflection, connection, and a shared love of storytelling.
This is a celebration of supporting each other with this common cause and making sure that we all know that we're here to support each other, learn from each other, and create community so we can learn.
Let's do something to activate the city that gets people traversing the city, being in new neighborhoods, and seeing our spaces, bookstores and cafes, specialty stores that exist.
The conversation featured bookstore owners at every stage of their journey, from seasoned entrepreneurs to newer founders just beginning to build their vision. Panelists spoke candidly about what it takes to open and sustain an independent bookstore, highlighting both the challenges behind the scenes and the passion that keeps these spaces alive.
I mean, there were so many great nuggets, but I think hearing from one of the audience members who talked about the concept of volunteering, and hearing all of us talk about sort of like that idea of like how much of a struggle it can be for Black women or small business owners to ask for help, and also to trust somebody to come into your space that is like your baby can be kind of tricky. But to hear from that sort of way of like people saying, hey, we want to help, hey, we want to step in, we want to support, was really cool.
Beyond business, the discussion emphasized the cultural impact of Black women-owned bookstores as community anchors. Organizers said the event not only celebrated Women's History Month, but also encouraged ongoing support for independent literary spaces shaping the future of New York City's reading culture. Reporting for Bronxnet, Brittany Schuyler.
And thank you, Brittany. That is all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, but guess what? We have more open when we return. And welcome back. Brisket King NYC is back for its 14th annual celebration, bringing together more than 20 chefs and restaurants from across New York City and beyond. Now, taking place today at Pig Beach Barbecue, this all-inclusive event gives attendees the chance to sample everything from classic Texas-style barbecue to globally inspired brisket creations, along with craft beer, wine, and more. Joining me now to discuss this event and the vision behind it, we've got Jimmy Carbone, who is the founder of Food Karma NYC and producer of Brisket King NYC. And Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us. Excited to have you. I really wanted my producers to put you on at the end because I'm hungry now and I got to be hungry for the rest of this show. But glad to have you share it with us.
Well, Darren, you're sure invited tonight. Tonight it's at Pig Beach Barbecue in Astoria, Queens, and the story is a real New York story. I had a restaurant in the East Village, and you get to know people from all over the city. And way back in 2011, a couple of people wanted to really get into brisket. And at the time, every culture cooks beef, almost every culture, So there's braising and there's curries and as well as Texas barbecue, and Texas barbecue really got hot. And so we've got, in terms of flavor and taste, and also like a variety of different cultures, this event really tries to represent the best in New York City.
Yeah.
So right now there's a rising Thai restaurant scene. We have Gigi Curry, and we have Kamrai Thai, and he's based in Astoria, and they're two completely different styles of Thai food. We've got some Southern guys that have cooked on huge competitive barbecue teams out of Alabama, and they're based in the city. There's a lot of talent here. Kimchi Smoke out of New Jersey. He's born in Texas, but he's Korean American. So you've got Korean flavors with a real Texas style. And then you Champion's coming back.
Jimmy, I gotta get. I know you have all these people coming, but I gotta ask the question. Tell me about, first of all, how did you find these, these participants? Now, I'll give you a little backdrop. My family, we're Austin, Texas, right? So know about brisket, and to find people who can do brisket at a high level, that is rare. But you have them right at your place.
It's like a lot of things, longevity and consistency. And as you do it, there's a lot of people that'll come back and cook again and again. In fact, there's Richie Holmes based in Staten Island. He's Juicy Lucy Barbecue. He came on in 2019 and 2021, and he won the event. And then he took a break with that restaurant concept, and he's back now with Juicy Lucy Barbecue again. So of course he wants to showcase his brisket. It's not like you just put out a help wanted ad and you try to get people to come and cook with you. We built a culture of it's rising chefs, aspiring chefs. Some of the things like night markets and smorgasbord really got a lot more people interested and permitted to be able to do street festivals and festivals like this. So that's also helped a lot. Where we've got guys like Jace Barbecue out of Rockaway. He's Caribbean American, but he has started cooking at Smorgasbord, and with that they help coach you to get your permitting and everything else. So he can do any street festival. He can do any festival in the city. So there's a lot of things going on that make this event happen. Number one, it's us focusing on trying to boost the chefs. There's no one who's just starting out. Everybody's has either already been part of some festivals, has cooked in restaurants. Many of them are New York City restaurants. So, it's not an amateur event at all. It's professional chefs.
No, not at all. And you got 4 of them that I know that are at least on the Food Network's BBQ Brawl. So tell us about that.
Well, again, that's it. It's almost like we're the feeder for things like the Food Network and other things, because we really focus on the chefs and the food and the restaurants, and we try to help build them up. That's really what it's about. So I know Brothers Barbecue, which has a couple places, one in New Jersey, one in Hudson Valley. They were just on Barbecue Brawl. and our good buddy Vincent Manguel, who's Empire Barbecue, he started with a food truck out of Staten Island, and he's got kitchens running out of a couple bars and establishments in Brooklyn, and he just opened a restaurant in North Carolina. So he's on Barbecue Brawl as well. So it's a pretty great group of people. But again, our job is to deliver for you guys a delicious, flavorful event. You walk around, you get to taste everything. And number one, it's putting the spotlight on these chefs. I call them rising stars. They're all rising stars. There's so many good, as you know, there's so many good chefs and cooks in New York City. And it's not just the stars who you see on TV, but our job is to get them on the way up and help them do better.
Yeah. Well, tell me, I mean, with all this brisket that'll be flowing today, tonight, and you got a favorite kind?
I never go in with a favorite because there's always a surprise. There might be someone, with beef, you can braise it a certain way. It might win. There's one that's going to surprise me. He's making braised brisket raviolis, and he's the guy who's cooked in Alabama. So we'll see. It really, it's like the proof's in the pudding. Who knows who has the best taste? Yeah. And sometimes it's just timing. Did someone really execute and take their time with it the way they needed to? There's some styles of brisket, like you come out of Montreal, there's like the old Jewish kind of smoked meats. You've got to start 12 or 13 days out marinating the meat. So there's some people do that with the Texas style. You have kosher, in New York City, there's a strong kosher community. And a few years back, we had a couple kosher champions. One thing that was neat, you may have heard of Franklin Barbecue in Austin, Texas. After the second kosher guy, this is Izzy's Barbecue in Brooklyn. He got flown to, he brought his kosher meat and he was flown to Franklin's in Austin, Texas. Mm-hmm. And they had a brand new oven, so it was still smoker and it was still considered kosher. So he was the first one to cook on the new smoker at Franklin, but it was neat for him. There's a lot of like overlap. I mean, this is New York City. It's culture. It's different flavors, and they try to tell people that it's not just big guys with beards, standing around out in the sun. We're working in New York City in New York City kitchens, New York City conditions. It's completely different, as you know, from being out in Texas. And Absolutely. I think our chefs up here do a better job than a lot of places in the country.
Yeah, we're coming up to the end of this segment, but I do want to ask before we go, tell me about your hopes. I mean, obviously, doing this now for 14 years, what are your hopes that people walk away with when they experience this?
We want them first we want them to discover chefs that they may not have known, but also it's a relationship builder for a lot of the chefs and the restaurant people. This is a chance to see other colleagues they may only see once a year. It's a chance for them to shine too. That it helps not just launch careers, but also just refresh careers as well. So we want, number one, we want the weather to be good. So let's see how it is tonight. Mm-hmm. Usually I'm pretty lucky with the weather. So if the weather's good, it might rain earlier in the day, but likely it'll be perfect tonight.
Well, we're always praying for great weather every day. I mean, but most of all, praying that a lot of people come through, have a great time, enjoy some good food and some good vibes. And Jimmy, it's been good to have you. Save me. I'm coming. I might come down. I might pop through.
Yeah, I think you should come. BrisketKing.com. Let us know. We got some press passes, and it's a good event. It's worth coming over to Astoria.
Don't tempt me with a good time. I'm there. All right. You don't have to pull my leg. All right. For more information, thanks, Jimmy. You can visit the website at BrisketKing.com. And do me a favor, follow them on social media at BrisketKingNYC. We encourage you don't go anywhere. Guess what? We got more open coming up right after
Thank you.
This.
We are the Eco Leaders. We learned that everything starts with ourselves. Then we have to educate ourselves. Then we have to build community and use our imagination.
And we are back as New York City continues to face a housing crisis. More than 100,000 people remain in shelters, many relying on voucher programs to secure permanent housing. Yet, nearly 80% of eligible families are unable to use these vouchers due to systemic barriers like landlord discrimination, complex paperwork, and delays in inspections. Anthos Homes' newly released white paper, quote, Creating a New Way Home, outlines both the challenges as well as the actionable solutions. And joining me now to discuss this and the findings to the path forward is Allison Tardio, who is Development and Communication Specialist at Anthos Home. And Allison, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And, this is something that a lot of New Yorkers actually wrestle with, the fact of, housing. And given the fact that you have these vouchers, a lot of people feel like they work, but then you come out with this white paper and find out things are going in a totally different direction.
Housing vouchers are an extremely powerful tool and an extremely powerful solution to homelessness. They're well designed, and studies have shown that they are a stable path out of housing insecurity and homelessness and into safe, stable housing. There are just a few barriers that make them more difficult to use. So Anthos Home was founded a few years ago to help people use those vouchers more quickly and easily. We partner with landlords, with tenants, and with social service agencies to help this process work more smoothly for everyone involved. Yeah. And we have a pool of flexible funding to help some of those barriers that come out throughout the process preemptively, so that we're getting ahead of some of those delays.
And so your white paper really uncovered a couple of, startling findings. I was a little bit, dismayed to hear some of the things that came out of that. But talk to us a little bit about the white paper and really some of the results that you're seeing.
Sure. So, as I said, housing vouchers are a really powerful solution to homelessness. They are well designed. The Department of Social Services houses thousands of families every year using housing vouchers. But it is a tool, especially city FEPS, takes sometimes over 100 pages of documentation, not just for the tenant exiting shelter, but also for the landlords who are open to being in part of this process. So Anthos Home is supporting both sides of that equation to make the process work more smoothly. So what we are advocating for with the white paper is that our model can be expanded, specifically in the Bronx, where there is a higher concentration of shelters and people experiencing housing insecurity, because the system should work as hard just as the residents of the Bronx. Yeah. So we are proposing that our network of housing navigation services, supporting the people who have vouchers from step one all the way through move-in, and for that first year of tenancy as well, to make sure that that tenancy really sticks, can be scaled and expanded to have a network of supporting agencies doing this work, not just Anthos Home.
Yeah. How does landlord discrimination factor in all this?
In our experience, it is a matter of giving landlords the education and tools to engage in this process well. Landlord discrimination is illegal in New York City. However, there are a few different ways where this process is confusing and overwhelming for landlords to be a part of. Delays in inspections, delays in payments from the city can cause landlords to pause before engaging in this process. So Anthos Home has built a network of over 550 landlords that we work closely with. So when participants come to Anthos Home with a housing voucher looking for housing, we already have a network of people that we know are open to this process, have the education, and we've already inspected and even made some minor repairs to those units to know that those inspections won't be delaying the process any further, moving somebody out of shelter or an unstable situation into housing more quickly, oftentimes twice as fast as they would without that support.
Yeah. Sometimes we have policymakers, I won't say sometimes, a lot of times we have policymakers who are watching the show. If they're watching the show right now and saying, listen, we recognize there's a housing problem, from your vantage point, what can policymakers do to really advocate and really come across the field for you?
Yeah, I mean, we have wonderful partnerships with the Administration for Children's Services, with the Human Resources Administration, and we're looking to continue to grow those partnerships because housing vouchers are such a powerful tool. They are such a strong solution to homelessness, and at a significantly lower cost than shelter or some of the other solutions that are out there. So with a minor investment for small repairs to units so that they pass the city inspections, with the small investment of the cost of the housing voucher, families are able to put down roots and thrive in safe, stable housing.
Yeah. Interesting statistic that really stuck out for me about your organization was this. I did the research here, 500 families with 100% retention rate.
Yes.
And
We
so-
recently celebrated over 600 families.
Okay, so
housed.
600. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for lowballing you here.
No problem, yeah.
What's the secret sauce?
The secret sauce is that 1 year of support after that move-in. So Anthos Home support for families and the landlords as well doesn't end on move-in day. We help cover the cost of move-ins, essential furniture on that move-in day to make sure that tenants are successful from day one. And they have a housing support specialist through that first year of tenancy to make sure that they have somebody advocating for them. And also the landlords have a phone number to call. They can call Anthos Home. We have a 24/7 hotline throughout that first year of tenancy should any emergencies arise. And so it's with that additional light touch support that tenants are 100% successfully housed for that first year of tenancy.
And for yourself, as you look at the housing crisis right now, with boots on the ground, how do you view it?
How do I view it? It is, the solutions are out there. The housing voucher works. The studies show housing vouchers work. And so with the advocacy work that Anthos Home is doing, advocating on behalf of the tenants, making this process more smooth for the landlords, and really centralizing our expertise to housing navigation and making the process work more smoothly, we're able to make this process work at twice the speed that it typically does without this additional support. So we're hoping that we can continue to scale this work, continue to serve more families across all 5 boroughs, and make the system work better for everyone involved.
You kind of leaned into my question because I was going to ask what's next. I mean, you have this great retention rate, right? And obviously you want to build upon that. You want to take that a step further. So if you elaborate a little bit more on that next.
Definitely. Our policy paper, Creating a New Way Home, recommends scaling this model, specifically with the Bronx in mind for specific investment, because we know that there is a need in this borough especially. We're continuing to scale our work. We are poised to house over 650 families by the end of June, and then we have goals to essentially continue to double that number in the next coming years. So we're hoping to continue building these relationships with landlords across all 5 boroughs, and housing more New Yorkers.
Are you seeing any particular trends when it comes to housing?
Not at present. We are continuing to build those relationships with landlords, and we're seeing that the additional support really makes people more open-minded to this process and really reducing the source of income discrimination that we sometimes see across the city or we hear from tenants. So we're hoping that continuing this work and continue growing our reach helps provide a full solution to this.
And when somebody says, how can I get assistance through Anthos, how can they go about it?
I would recommend that they visit our website, anthoshome.org. A tenant who has a housing voucher does need a referral through a case manager. So all of that information is on the Anthos Home website. I highly recommend that you check it out. And if there are landlords listening who have units who are interested in our model, we have information for them as well on our website.
Yeah, I just want to take a look at some of the numbers that you have. You said, you have 600 families that actually moved into permanent housing to date, right? And that's 100% retention rate. And then when you think about it, there is this other number that I saw that I really wanted to lift up. That's 140 plus young adults that are aging out of foster care, and they're housed through the ACS partnership. And I wanted you to just share a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. It is a really deeply impactful partnership that we have with the Administration for Children's Services. Young adults aging out of foster care don't have a large support network, and so we are able to, with the tenant support team and with the housing navigation team, walk young adults who are living independently for the first time step by step through this overwhelmingly bureaucratic process. So they have Anthos Home to partner with to know what documentation is needed when they're submitting their voucher paperwork for the first time, what their rights are as tenants as they're signing that lease, and then having that 1 year of support services so that when something comes up in their apartment, because I think we all know in New York City, something happens
Something
after
happens, yes.
something happens after
Yes.
move-in day. They have a number to call to help advocate or to help guide them to how they can advocate for themselves to their landlord to make sure that everything is going smoothly.
And from their perspective, obviously, it's great to have somebody that's really a liaison between. Talk
Definitely.
about being that in between and really how that's also a difference maker.
Yeah, it's definitely a difference maker. We have focused all of our energy and expertise into this housing voucher process where for whatever question, we work with over 11 different voucher types. And so we are able to answer those questions on behalf of the landlords and the tenants and make sure that the process is running smoothly and staying ahead of some of those delays, whether it be somebody's income changes due to changes in hours or a job loss. We can stay ahead of those changes that would typically delay the process by weeks or even months to stay in touch with everybody and make sure that the process continues moving forward.
Allison, God, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. Obviously, great work that you're doing and keeping families safe and really in that transition, trying to find a more comfortable way of dealing with it. So thank you so much for the work that you do.
Thank you so much.
All right, Allison Tardio with Anthos. I want to let you know for more information, visit the website at anthoshome.org. I want to let you know we got more open coming up, so just stay with us. We're taking a quick break and coming right back.
There's a new channel to explore, and it's bringing the classics back to life. During the day, relive the Bronxnet originals that sparked conversations and built community. At night, dive into the hip-hop throwbacks that defined a generation. One destination, two powerful lineups. Now playing on Optimum Channel 952, Fios 2138, and streaming at bronxnet.tv. BX Legacy, where history meets the moment.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
Soy negro, blanco, taíno, mulato, caribeño, bueno, latinoamericano.
And welcome back. For many people, hair care is more than just about beauty. It's about health. It's about confidence. And it's also about finding real solutions. You All Natural is a brand that's focused on creating plant-based products designed specifically for sensitive scalps, as well as conditions like eczema, alopecia, and psoriasis. And with formulated development alongside some experts, these products aim to restore, hydrate, and protect hair naturally. And joining us now to share a story and expertise, we've got Gia Mead, who's the founder of You All Natural, along with co-founder and licensed cosmetologist Adele Stewart. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
So you decided that you were going to form You All Natural, and there's a reason behind it, of course. So tell us a little bit about the backstory.
Well, I was gifted something by Adele during my transition from, permed hair to natural hair, the big chop. And it worked so well, I fell in love with it. And I said, hey, let's do this together. And I brought in the science and the money. And then I found out I had stage 3C cancer, ovarian cancer. And so clean beauty was, all that stuff on the shelves, full of chemicals. I made the decision, this is going to be my life's work. Telling people about the ingredients, the chemicals and the synthetics in their beauty products, and how over time it can cause fibroids, endocrine disruptions, and cancer. I was a 40-year permer, and I ended up with stage 3C ovarian cancer.
And Adele, a little bit about, the work has obviously, intricately involved in making this happen. And plant-based, right? And going that direction. the benefits of it. Talk about that.
Well, non-toxic is always great on any level, and it's clean. You don't have to kind of second guess what's going on your head. Like not too much buildup or anything like that. It's good for the body.
Conversation. Listen, as I was talking just a few seconds ago, really hearing about this product, the question that comes out is people make common mistakes, not even knowing, right? So what are some of the common mistakes? Because you alluded to it earlier about the mistakes that people make that maybe we're not so familiar with.
Well, you really should be checking the ingredients in all of your personal care and hair care products. You need to be looking at the chemicals that are listed. The saturated products, the chemicals are right at the beginning after water. You have synthetic, you have petroleum-based, and not everything is organic. And sometimes they're greenwashing. And greenwashing is presenting it as an organic or clean product when in actuality it isn't. So people need to be aware of that. You need to do the research because over time this is going to build up in your system, and of course you're going to end up with fibroids or cancer, like in my case. So people need to be aware of what they're putting on their face with beauty products, as makeup. Also synthetic hair. Synthetic hair has a lot of chemicals, and they've been exposing it, but it's very, very dangerous, as well as natural braiding hair. What are they putting and coating that hair with?
The scalp, Adele, very important. We always hear about the scalp. You gotta take care of the scalp, right?
Absolutely.
So let's unpack about the importance of really maintaining a healthy scalp and what that does for growth.
Well, maintaining your scalp skin is just like maintaining your face. When you wash your face, you need to wash your scalp. That's like, I know a lot of people get away from that, and there's like a myth. Us ethnic people believe that, the dirtier the hair, the more it'll grow, and that's couldn't be it's very far from the truth. But scalp care is essential because it's kind of like, it's the same thing as like keeping a garden. You pull out the weeds, you pull out all the stuff, you maintain the seed, you water it and you feed it and it grows. So that's the same concept.
So let's talk about these tools for growth here, right? I mean, you got some products here, so I'm not so familiar. I've got my own thing going on here. So walk me through it.
Well, we have the shampoo, and this is our standard 8-ounce shampoo. We also have salon sizes, and we do a lot in the salon space. We have salons that exclusively use our products because it moisturizes, it hydrates the hair and moisturizes it. So this is our clean. It's a chocolate-based shampoo, and chocolate is excellent for shine and excellent for feeding the hair. Adele, who uses it in her salon, she told me we were developing this with the scientists. We work with scientists all over throughout the United States, and we do extensive research on our products. And so this product here is good for those who are losing hair from hormonal issues. It has a DHT blocking agent in it. Adele, would you like to pick one of your favorites, the oils or anything?
Yeah.
The drink is great.
Okay, so this is the drink here.
The drink is a conditioner. I usually use it, it's part of my deep steaming treatment, and it hydrates the hair. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We know that people, and I talked about it a little bit in the intro, who deal with alopecia, right? So for a person who deals with alopecia, what is kind of like the best ways, some of the resources that you have to help with those persons who are dealing?
So alopecia is a tricky situation, right? You have to figure out what's going on as far as like what strand of alopecia it is. if it's like a CCCA or like something that's hormonal. Sometimes it's hormonal, sometimes it'll grow back, sometimes it won't. It just depends on what's going on internally. There are forms of alopecia that, that's just kind of what it is. But usually like hormonal and stuff like that, I always try to target diet, stress level, and what's going on, if they have any information about their blood, and then we talk about product, right? Because all of those things being in order are great, and then you marry it with amazing hair care. And then you see the results that you're looking for, especially if you're willing to put in the work and the investment in yourself.
You said the big word, results. And I know that a lot of people, that's the biggest question they're going to have, right? How long before I get to see some results? And your answer would be what?
It depends on what you have going on. If you're coming to me and you're somebody who, you're not really up on taking care of your hair. You don't wear anything on your head before you go to sleep. You don't wash your hair enough. We'll have to fine tune those things, come up with a plan, come up with a regimen, and it's up to you, because when you come to see me, I'm only a certain percentage of the journey. The rest is on you. So if you don't follow through with what we talk about, from supplements, from understanding what you're lacking, that's a big part. I don't sell dreams. Like we work together and then we get the actual results. And if you're on board with all those things, then you're gonna see your hair grow.
Right. And Jid, what does it mean for you? Obviously, being through the journey, now helping people through the journey, and now, literally putting your money where your issue is.
Well, I had alopecia as a child and as an adult, and it's hard when all your hair falls out or falls out in patches. And so having gone through that, my daughter going through that, and then family members suffering from alopecia, when you find something that works, you stick with it. Natural products take time, minimum of 3 months to see progress. And like Adele said, you have to walk through your process. If you don't, and you don't listen to the instructions or regimen that you receive, then you can't expect those results. But our products are scientifically researched and proven to work. We work with biophysicists from MIT. We work with an environmental scientist who's a Nobel Prize winner that uses our products. And we also work with a Stanford microbiologist who is now showing us the correlation between gut bacteria and hair loss. So it's a science. Your hair is a science. And so science, technology married with clean beauty is going to give you results. But you have to stay the course. Look at me. I have a head full of hair, except for that little part I bought. But I was bald. I rocked it, but I was bald. And now my hair is about here, and it's been 2 years.
Great comeback. For people who want to get the product, how do they go about getting and touching base with the product?
Yes.
Yeah, whoever.
You All Naturals.
Yeah.
UALLNATURALS.com. We also have on the website a scalp analysis and a hair analysis. So the website recommends the products based upon analysis.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining us. Great work and thank you for sharing your passion.
Thank you.
All righty. Adele, thank you so much for being with us. Listen, now, if you want more information, go ahead to the website at UAllNaturals.com. We encourage you to stick around, because guess what? We do have more show coming up right after this break.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. 55% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. %34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. Bronxnet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the Bronxnet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit bronxnet.org to learn more.
And we are back. For many young people, finding their voice and stepping into leadership can be life-changing. The Sadie Nash Leadership Project is an organization that's dedicated to empowering young women and gender-expansive youth of color through leadership development, college and career readiness, as well as some social justice programs. And from its award-winning Summer Institute to its expanding programs across New York City, the organization is helping to build the next generation of leaders. And joining me now to share a little bit more are Tanae Howard, who's the Executive Director, and Marissa Hatton, who's the Senior Director of Strategic Advancement. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. And really, it's also great to have a conversation when you talk about leadership, right? Because I think that so many times young people are exposed to leadership at a later journey, but you find a way to really lock them in early.
We do. We believe that young people are leaders now. They're leaders in their family, they're leaders in their schools, they're leaders in their community, and so many of them have an instinct around leadership that we think is really important to nurture and to build upon. Oftentimes, when you get older and you're a leader, you're kind of beholden maybe to the institution that you're a part of, or you have to do things a certain way because that's the way they've been done. What we find is that young people really have this energy, this desire to innovate, to do things differently, and we want to make sure that they understand that that is a really important instinct, that they should lean into that now. And when they get to a position of power later on in their life, whether they're in government or they're helping to make policies that impact their community, and to be able to follow that instinct of being beholden to community, thinking fairly about thinking about how to create a fair opportunity for others. And so helping to nurture their leadership now means that as they continue to have more opportunities for leadership, they really step into it in a way that creates opportunities for everybody.
Yeah. Marissa, take us a little bit behind the doors, and tell us a little bit about what young people actually experience more in depth.
Ultimately, we look at our model as a cohort model, so we're affecting individuals, right? Like, we're affecting the individual young people, but we're putting them in groups with their peers, and they're having not just like a year-long or a summer-long journey, but it's really a lifelong journey with folks who are supporting them. We have staff members that are helping them and teaching them through various different classes that teach them about power, identity, privilege. We also have electives about dance, theater, but then we also have wellness supports as well. So you can't really be a leader if you don't have everything that you need, right? So we're making sure that we're talking with young people, maybe making referrals if necessary, and just looking at things really holistically. And we ultimately, there's leadership, there's seriousness about wellness, but we really want to emphasize joy and fun. We really look at our work as something that's done with, both rigor and love. And so we want to make sure that, the journey to leadership isn't one that is just working, because I feel like that's a lot of what's happening now with young people. I think that young people have unique challenges, especially post-COVID, and there's higher expectations, and we want to have a space where we're holding young people to a high standard, but also providing them what they need to flourish.
Yeah. So we have the Summer Institute coming up, right?
We do.
Excited?
I am really excited. For many, many years, we have really dreamed about having an opportunity for Summer Institute in the Bronx. And this summer, we're really excited that we're going to be in the Bronx and bringing programming to young people in the Bronx. One of the things that we have learned through doing programming really over the last 25 years Sadie Nash has been around is that being able to do place-based work with young people and helping them see that they can make impact in their local communities, and they can, as they understand their local communities more, they can think about ways to, create different opportunities for themselves and their peers and their community members. It's such an important thing for them. And so in addition to programs in Manhattan, we also have programming in Queens, in Brooklyn, and in Newark, New Jersey. And so this year, we're bringing programming to the Bronx. It's been a dream of ours. According to a recent United Neighborhood Houses report last year, 18 out of the 26 districts that are in most need of after-school access for young people in New York City are in the Bronx. And so we also see that there's a real need for these types of opportunities for young people.
And so as young people are developing their sense of leadership, right, obviously you're taking them, many of them, from a place of being very introvert to coming out and really being able to, that development process, right? Talk to us about how you really are able to foster that, because you have them talking about key areas and key things, but we do recognize that some of our young people just aren't there yet, but you helped that development along.
I would say that we look at leadership in a more holistic way, and so there are different ways to be a leader, and so ultimately, we're trying to have young people recognize something within themselves and feel more affirmed, and just understanding that the ideas that they have matter, that their opinions matter, like making them feel comfortable expressing those opinions and navigating these different spaces. We talk to them about power, whether it is, the different types of power that may exist, the power that they have inward, or maybe power that others may have over other folks, how to navigate that, and just letting them really kind of learn how to be more comfortable asserting their own personal power, but not in a way where they're having maybe power over people, but just power with people. I also think that really the connection to community and building that sort of comfort makes more young folks come out of their shell, and also creates a space where, even if you're shy, knowing that your opinion is valued, knowing that folks are going to listen to you, and also knowing that, being given the tools for what to do if you feel like maybe your opinion won't be valued in a certain space, or people aren't going to listen to you in a certain way. Like giving them the sort of social emotional skills to equip them for these different environments are really what helps them kind of step into their own leadership at Sadie Nash.
Yeah. At the end of the summer, every young person gets a T-shirt that says, "This is what a leader looks like," and I'm wearing it today. And really, the reason for that is because we want them, as Marissa said, to really value who they are, to really value what they bring to the table. And so when you look around the room and everybody is wearing a T-shirt that says, "This is what a leader looks like," you really come to understand that leadership, comes in different forms. You can be the loud talker, you can be the quiet, note taker, you can be someone who's standing up for the person right next to you, or you can be someone on the bullhorn. There's so many different ways that you can actualize leadership. And I think that that's one of the main things that young people get out of the experience at Sadie Nash Leadership Project.
Yeah, so I know that there's a way that people can get involved, right? So talk to us about the application process, because I understand the application process is coming close.
Yeah. Applications for our Summer Institute are open until May 8th, and so you can go to our website, sadienash.org, and find applications there. They're open to any young person who identifies as a girl, young women, or as a gender-expansive young person. Doesn't matter what school you go to. You should be between the ages of 14 and 18, though. So young people who are currently in high school or may have just graduated. Folks can also get involved with Sadie Nash in general. We have an upcoming event on June 3rd called An Evening of Joy and Liberation, and it's an opportunity for us to celebrate our community, to celebrate incredible women and gender expansive leaders, and we're really excited to welcome folks to that.
Yeah, we're seeing it right now where people can go ahead and get their tickets right now and
They
come
can.
get
And
to the event.
we're going to be honoring Shayna Stevenson, who is the Chief Brand Officer at the New York Liberty and an amazing woman leader at a really important kind of organization that lifts up women's leadership. And we're also going to be honoring the Liberty as our community partner, along with two other folks who will be honored as well at Sadie Nash at Joy and Liberation. We're really excited. It's a fun party, and it's a great way to support this incredible work.
Yeah. Well, you can say it?
I would be remiss without saying that Shayna used to work at Sadie Nash at our summer institute and taught about women's sports. So it's just interesting over the course of 25 years, like seeing the type of leaders that emerge through different industries. Because even another one of our honorees, one of our alumni, Rana Abdelhamid, who has her own nonprofit in Queens now, Malika, that teaches women self-defense. You know, after being around for so long, we're seeing like where Nashers go and what they're doing for New York's community.
It's got to be good to see your alumni all over the place.
They're making an impact, and that's the most important part.
Yeah. So if there's a parent out there, somebody, a young person out there saying, listen, I want to do this, the time is now, right? Because they would have until May 8th?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so May the 8th, and then hopefully you can get your application in, and then be right there with them. Get your leadership, get your life on, and take it to another level.
Yeah.
Sinead, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. It was
Marissa,
great to talk
thank
to you.
Thank you.
All right, glad to have you both. All right, listen now. If you want more information, again, visit the website at sadienash.org. Remember a couple of dates. Number one, May 8th, that is the final day that you can get in that application. And then also June, that very special event, Joy and Liberation. Now, if you want to follow them on social media, go ahead and do that. You can reach them at the Sadie Nash Leadership Project. I want to let you know we come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, and most of all, you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch Recablecast right here on Optimum's Channel 67. Verizon Files, that'll be Channel 2133, or you can watch us anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. And don't forget, you can catch a brand new episode of Open with my girl Rita Valentine on Friday. This wraps up this episode for us. I am Darren Jaime saying make sure, keep this channel wide open. We say take care, God bless, and we'll see you soon.